We ever feel like you're putting in hours and hours of study time, but the info just isn't sticking? What if this secret wasn't about studying harder, but studying smarter? Well, today we're going to dive into the science-backed techniques the top students use to learn way faster and, honestly, a lot more effectively.
And this quote right here, this is really the whole idea. The students getting the best scores, they're not necessarily the ones chained to a desk in the library 24/7. Nope, they've just figured out a different approach, one that's built on how our brains actually work.
So you're probably asking, what's their big secret? Well, it's not some hidden magic trick. It's actually a toolkit of really powerful, evidence-based strategies that, honestly, anyone can learn and use. And we're about to break them all down for you.
So here's our game plan. We're going to start with the big picture principle and then unpack 4 super powerful tools for your study kit: active recall, spaced repetition, interleaving, and yeah, even sleep. Then we'll pull it all together into a blueprint you can start using right away.
Okay, first things first, let's get our heads in the right space. The goal here isn't to rack up more hours. It's to make every single hour you do study as efficient and effective as possible. We're talking quality over quantity every single time.
All right, let's get into our first tool, and honestly, this one is a total game changer. If your go-to study method is just highlighting and rereading your textbook over and over, this is for you. It's time to stop being passive and get active.
So think about the difference. On one hand, you have passive reading. Your eyes just kind of glaze over the page, the information just washes over you, but it doesn't really stick. But on the other hand, you have active recall. This is where you force your brain to go in and pull that information out. That act of pulling, of retrieving, that's what actually forges the strong connections in your brain.
So, how do you actually do it? It's a simple 3-step loop. First, you study something. Then, you close the book. Seriously, shut it. Step 2, you try to explain that concept out loud, like you're teaching a friend, or just jot it down from memory. Then, the final step, you open the book back up and see what you got wrong or what you missed. Boom, you've just pinpointed your weak spots.
And I want you to remember this. That feeling of struggle when you're trying to recall something, that's not failure. That is the feeling of learning happening in real time. It's like lifting weights for your brain. The strain is what makes the muscle stronger. So you gotta lean into that struggle. It's a sign you're doing a great mental workout.
Okay, on to tool number 2. So you've used active recall to get information into your brain. Great. Now, how do you stop it from just evaporating a week later? Well, the answer is spaced repetition. It's a scientifically proven method to fight back against what researchers call the forgetting curve.
So instead of cramming for 8 hours straight the night before an exam, you get way better results by strategically spacing out your reviews. You might review a topic a day after you learn it, then again 3 days later, then a week later, and so on. Every time you review, you're hitting the reset button on that forgetting curve and driving the memory deeper.
And listen, this isn't just a nice idea. It's backed by a mountain of solid research. We're talking over 100 cognitive studies that prove spacing out your practice is just flat out better than cramming. The science is settled on this one. You just have to trust the process.
Okay, tool number 3 is called interleaving. Now, this one can feel a little weird at first, maybe even counterintuitive, but it is so powerful for building a deeper, more flexible kind of knowledge. The big idea is super simple. Mix, don't block. Let me show you what that means. Blocked practice is what most of us do, right? You sit down and just grind out math problems for 2 hours straight. Interleaving is different. You might do 45 minutes of math, then switch to 45 minutes of economics, then go back to math. It feels harder because your brain has to constantly switch gears, but that's the point. It forces your brain to see the differences and similarities between concepts, building much stronger and more useful connections.
And now, for our final and maybe most surprising tool. It's something you do every single night, but you probably don't think of it as a study aid. But trust me, it is your brain's secret weapon. I'm talking about sleep.
So what is actually going on when you're asleep? Well, your brain is hard at work. There's this incredible process called synaptic consolidation. Your brain literally replays the important stuff you learned that day, strengthening those new connections and moving information into your long-term memory. So when you pull an all-nighter, you're basically robbing your brain of its most important learning time.
And the difference it makes is just huge. Think about it. A student who gets in 6 good hours of smart studying and a full 8 hours of sleep is going to retain way more than someone who crams for 10 hours straight and is totally sleep deprived. It's not even a fair fight. The message couldn't be clearer.
Making sleep a priority is making your studies a priority.
Phew. Okay, we have covered 4 really powerful tools. Now, let's bring it all home and put this together into a simple, actionable blueprint that you can start using tonight.
So here it is, your new toolkit for success. 1. Use active recall to test yourself, not just reread. 2. Lock that knowledge in with spaced repetition. 3. Mix up your subjects with interleaving to build deeper connections. And 4. Get your sleep to let your brain do its thing and consolidate everything. That's it. That's your system.
So as we wrap up, I'm just going to leave you with this one question. You don't have to do all of this at once. That would be overwhelming. Just pick one. Which one of these tools will you try in your very next study session? Just start there.
And for anyone looking to put these principles into practice right away, the source material mentions the Study IB app for planning these kinds of smart study schedules, and their Discord community for getting tips from other students. Thanks for tuning in.